Hey friend, welcome. If we haven't met yet, I'm Jen. I am a part-time reseller and usually I talk about reselling things on my channel. So sourcing clothes to resell. Usually what I do is a ship with me video to show what actually sells. So my channel doesn't really talk a lot about my faith, but my faith is a huge part of who I am as a person. And so therefore, I think it overflows into my reselling and YouTube, and hopefully it overflows into everything that I do. I am a Christian. I believe that we can believe different things and still be friends. And if you have something you want to contribute to the conversation, I would love to hear it. But just please remember to be kind and respectful. Not everyone has to believe the same way in order to be civil and kind to one another. Okay. I am here in this beautiful park right outside Corning, New York. And I hope, like me, you can just concentrate on the sound of the river and the birds and ignore the highway noises that is just on the other side of the river, on the other side of those trees. I have a lot of things I think I want to say. I meant to write them down and kind of follow a little bit of a script, but I didn't. And I think that might be better. It's definitely going to be more rambly, but that's a little bit more my personality anyway. But I think it'll be more authentic if it's just coming from what I'm thinking off the cuff. So I think I said all the things I want to say by way of introduction. I was reading a book called Liturgy of the Ordinary. I read it, I want to say about 2 months ago. And it kind of goes through the day and really goes into depth about how we can use those moments in our day to point our attention back to God, using those kind of benchmarks of the day, and to check in. Are we being attentive to God and how that's going and how God is moving in our lives? So even just little things like making the bed. Is making the bed the first thing that we do? Taking our attention and pointing it to God instead of the first thing being, scrolling on our phone and checking in with the world, right? So I was kind of thinking, like, how does this apply to reselling? How does this apply to YouTube even? And I think that one of the ways I personally like to live my life is that everything I do will be glorifying to God. There is an old monk, Brother Lawrence, I believe is his name. I always get it wrong, so if that's wrong, I'm sorry. But he was a monk, and his job was to peel potatoes in the kitchen. And he did that with joy and peace because he was doing it to glorify God, because that was his job, and everything that he did was going to be pointing back to God. And so I think first and foremost, I want every aspect of my life to point to God, to be glorifying to him. And so that means sometimes taking a step out of my comfort zone and sharing what I believe about faith on my YouTube channel. I mention things periodically here and there, but really my channel's about reselling, so I want to keep it about reselling. But like I said earlier, my faith is a huge part of who I am as a person. So, I was kind of thinking about how do I do this? How realistically, how can I point my attention? How can I point myself in my reselling back to God? So I think I do this in really 3 ways. One is I want to do it with integrity. So for integrity, for me, that means being honest, being realistic. With reselling, it's a lot about making sure that my listings are correct, and if they're not, really correcting the things that were wrong, making things right. I don't want to scam people. That's not what I'm out to do. I'm also not out here trying to make like $1 million. Like, that's not my purpose. I needed to make some extra money for my family. And so this is how I'm choosing to do it. So I want to do things ethically. I want to do things with integrity. And so one of the things I hear a lot is that whole aspect of like, oh, are we stealing from the poor? Oh boy. I think honestly, reselling feels a lot like creation care to me and doesn't feel like stealing from the poor. I go to a thrift store once a week, and the research that I've done, and it's been a while, so these numbers might not be correct, and maybe my memory is not correct, but their stores on average only sell 25% of their inventory that most of them get for free. And if we want to talk about, I won't go on that rampage, but there are some thrift stores that will remain nameless that their CEOs make millions of dollars and on free inventory. And so therefore, I'm not worried so much about my ethics in reselling. Their ethics in reselling, I think, might be a little off, especially when they're claiming to be nonprofit. So for me, one of those things is I try to support local nonprofit thrift stores that I know are actually doing some good in my community. Now, do I always do that? No, I do go to, larger thrift stores, well-known thrift stores on occasion, but I try to do my part to to support local. I also think that, there's 92, I think it's million tons. I'm going to say million to be on the low side. 1,000,000 tons of clothing gets thrown into a landfill. I'm going to say yearly to be on the safe side, but I think it's less than that. Like, I think it's more tons and less time. And so when I am digging through the bins, I am doing my teeny tiny part to get some of those things saved from the landfill and given to someone who, can use them and can give them a second chance at life. I also just had something run through my head and it ran right back out. I hate that. If you know what it is that I was thinking, will you let me know? I would appreciate that. So 25% landfill. A lot of our goods today are made in fast fashion. They're made with plastics that are not biodegradable and that are, not good for our planet. They're made very poorly and not high quality. Fast fashion is a huge problem. And there are some documentaries that I would suggest, search some documentaries on fast fashion and really look into how things are made. Most of the things that we buy that are available to us are not made ethically. A lot of them are made, some of it's really bad. So I think one of the things when I think of like creation care, I'm keeping things out of the landfill. I'm for my own, personal, because I'm in the thrift store so often, I'm buying most of the things I'm buying for my own personal use, for my family, for my home. I'm buying secondhand, and so I'm not contributing to that consumerism and to that fast fashion and fast, unethically made things. So I think that's part of it. So 2 things I've talked about so far. One is being a person of integrity. That's really important to me. Creation care. I think that's really important to me. I think that there's probably some other things that, how my faith affects reselling and here on YouTube. But the third thing that I want to talk about is Sabbath. For me, I take 1 full day off a week. And so I don't I don't list on that day. When I was listing from eBay, I would schedule out listings, but I'm currently listing from Vendu, and they don't do scheduled listings yet, but I think they should. But I don't even schedule out listings, so I literally don't list one day a week at all. I don't do anything for YouTube. I don't look at my email. I don't accept offers. I don't send offers. Like one full day a week, I Sabbath, I rest. And for me, it's a lot about my faith. For me, that's about, saying God is going to provide for my family. It's not about me having to do all of the things. It's about trusting that if I take a day off, that we're not going to lose our home. We're not going to starve. God will continue to provide. And, maybe that one day a week does affect my sales. There was a Facebook group, and somebody said, if I take off one day a week, is it gonna affect my sales? And I was like, well, I've always taken a day off. Literally since I started, I've always taken a day off, and it's never affected my sales. And so, someone said, how do you know? And that's true, because I've never listed 7 days a week. Maybe that does affect my sales, but I have to trust that it doesn't. And so that's part of that, trusting God to care for my family, to provide for our needs, not necessarily our wants, but our needs. And that in obeying Him, I'm putting my trust in Him. So He says we take a day to honor, to rest, to worship. And so I'm going to follow that. There are also studies, and I can't name them off the top of my head. I'm really good at I do research and then I completely forget it. Know the decision I came to from that research, and then I don't need to know the rest, right? I just remember my decision. But there is research on productivity and how when we actually take a day off, we're more productive when we are working, because our minds, our bodies have had that time to rest. And so therefore, when we're working, we can be more productive. So while that Sabbath does have a little bit of, or for me mostly, is about my faith, taking that day off is also so that I can be better at what I'm doing the other 6 days. So and there's a bird hopping around in the bush over here, and I'm getting a little distracted. So the other thing I can touch on, but I don't think we need to necessarily get into too much, is I do tithe. I tithe on my income. I think that that's really important. I pay taxes. I think that that is part of that integrity piece. This is taxable income, and I report it. I tithe on, or I pay my taxes, and I pay my tithe. Yeah. So kind of back to Sabbath, sometimes I need a bigger break, and right now I'm where I need a bigger break. So I took one in December around Christmas time, and I'm going to take one starting now. So for the next 10 days, you won't see me. I'm putting my eBay on vacation mode. I'm turning Poshmark on vacation mode, and Depop, everything is going on vacation mode. I'm not going to look at my email. I will still accept sales on eBay. But the last time I did it, I didn't make sales for 3 days. It was a little sad, honestly, but hopefully, maybe I'll make a few sales here and there. But I am going to not look at comments on YouTube. I'm not going to upload to YouTube. I'm just taking a break to restore my soul, and I'm going to a place that I love. It is very I'm really excited about. It's really special to me. So I will restore my soul. I will get some rest. I will spend a lot of time in solitude and quiet and contemplation and the Word, and I'm really excited about it. So I think that that's all I have to say. There's probably much more to say, but if you have something that you would like to say, questions, comments, I won't respond probably right away, but maybe in the next 10 days I will. But I would love to hear what you have to say. I think that listening to other people is important as well. I can't learn from other people without listening and being open to what they have to say about this. So, or anything in their life. So anyway, all right. So this was definitely a bit rambly. But if you watch my channel much, you know me. So that's kind of just who I am and how I am. So, all right. I am so thankful for you. Gratitude, that's another way. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for this job that I get to do. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for the money that I get to make. I'm thankful for the community that I've made here, and I'm just really, really, just grateful. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you enjoy reseller content. I won't talk a whole lot about faith from here on out, but I do occasionally kind of mix it in again because it's just a part of who I am. So I really appreciate you. I will probably add another little 30 seconds or so of this peaceful place. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon.